Hello, callsign Latrobe here, and I'm going to try something new here. What I'm going to do is take a look at your fights, review them for you, and tell you what you did right, what you did wrong, and what you should have done. In this video, I'll be reviewing a fight from Fugitive in his P-51 Delta. Let's take a look at his fight now. So here's first contact, an F4U to your 1 o'clock slightly below you. The first thing you need to worry about is the strengths and weaknesses of both aircraft. Your P-51 Delta has a higher top speed and a better climb rate than an F4U, but the F4U has the advantage in a turning fight, especially when using flaps. So you want to use that speed and climbing advantage you have to get above this F4U and use boom and zoom tactics to kill him. If this was an F4U-4, then he could definitely give you a lot of trouble. An F4U-4 can easily match a P-51 Delta for speed and climb rate. But fortunately, as it turns out, this isn't an F4U-4 and we can exploit our advantages over him. The very next thing that you want to worry about is the merge. The merge is vitally important and will decide most fights who is going to win and who is going to lose. So let's watch how you merge into this fight.
No!
The F4U sees you and cuts across your flight path below you. You roll over to keep an eye on him. The F4U reverses his turn to try for a shot, but you position well and are able to avoid his shot. Now, that merge was okay. You were able to avoid his shots, but the merge definitely could have been a lot better. You could have forced this F4U to use up a lot more of his E than what you did. It looked like you were positioning for a close pass with him, like you were going for a head-on shot, but as we saw, you didn't go for the head-on shot. So really all you're doing is giving the F4U a chance to kill you. What you wanted to do is create vertical and horizontal separation from the F4U and let him use his speed to maneuver and try and get to you. As we look at your merge from an overhead view, we see that both your and the F4U's flight path look very similar. You're both using roughly the same amount of E through the merge. What you want to do is something like this. We wait for the F4U to make his move, and as he goes right to left across your flight path, what you would want to do is roll to the right and put him off your left wing. If the F4U wants to get a shot at you, then he's going to have to reverse his turn and pull a complete 180. As we see, he pulls a much tighter turn than you do and uses up a lot more of his E. This will give you a significant energy advantage going into the first turn. Looking at the merge vertically, we can see that once again both of your flight paths were rather similar. What you could have done is use your positioning of already being higher than him along with your climb rate advantage to continue climbing above the F4U. This forces him to pull an Immelman turn if he wants to get behind you. We can see that he pulls a much tighter turn than you doing this, so he uses up more of his E trying to get to you. Or if you wanted to build up a little extra speed through the merge, you could have done the reverse. Use your slight altitude advantage, convert it into speed by diving down below the F4U, and then going vertical. Once again, he pulls a tight turn, using up more of his E to try and get behind you. This F4U doesn't appear to be a very aggressive pilot, and you do the right thing and take the initiative to get onto his 6 o'clock.
Gonna come from 97, straight shot.
The F4U makes little effort to try and avoid you here, and it's just a matter of running him down, which a P-51 can easily do. Now this presents a problem. A P-38's joining the fight now, and if it's a JRL model, then he can easily outclimb your P-51. Do the right thing and break off your attack on the F4U, convert your speed into altitude, and get above these guys. Your situation awareness is pretty good. You're keeping an eye on both these guys, seeing what they're doing, looking around, see if there's any third contacts coming in. and setting yourself up for a good attack run on the P-38. Your attack run on this 38 is pretty good. Even if you miss your shot, you're forcing him to turn and use his E so he can't climb up to you. The F4U comes in and you do the right thing, breaking off your attack to deal with the F4U. But again, you go more or less head on with the F4U. Fortunately, he's not able to pull a shot on you.
Kind of like I said about the Pacific Rim.
Creating some vertical separation there, you probably would have been able to rope the F4U up into a stall using your climb rate to outclimb him and kill him as he stalls out. Now this can be a bit risky. You're dropping your flaps to get in a turn fight with the F4U while there's still a P-38 in the area. Being aggressive here is not a bad idea if you can get a kill shot on the F4U and create a 1v1 situation against the P-38, but gunnery doesn't appear to be your strong suit. That's definitely something you should work on. You have to make these shots count. You know the 38 is coming in now and you do the right thing breaking off your attack to avoid the P-38. But again, going more or less head on with them and he almost gets a shot on you. You really do want to create that horizontal or vertical separation, or both if you can. Give them as difficult of a shot as possible. Make them use their E while conserving yours. You're keeping your altitude here, waiting for the right moment to strike, which is a good thing to be doing. Keeping an eye on both these guys, seeing which one is doing what, who's going to be attacking. And you see the F4U coming in, so you turn into his attack to avoid him. He's not able to pull any lead and misses. And you go vertical, come over the top, and here's a good chance to go aggressive. The P-38 go in the opposite direction and you're behind the F4U, so you take this opportunity to try and deal with the F4U again. But again, gunnery doesn't seem to be your strong point, then you're not able to capitalize on this moment. It looks like you're not quite sure what to do now that you're on the deck with the 38 on your 6 o'clock. Or maybe you're just extending away from him, hoping to maybe get your altitude back. As a F4U augers in, you start to make your move on the 38. Unfortunately, you take some hits and things don't go right for you here. What went wrong was your turn was only half right. When you've got a plane directly on your 6 o'clock and you want to force him to overshoot, you have to increase the rate of closure and you want to create a horizontal and a vertical problem for him. In your turn, we can see that you do create the first problem for him as he starts flying perpendicular to your flight path. But you didn't create a vertical problem for him. So all his turn does is give him your entire aircraft to shoot at. As you're coming through your turn and you're watching the 38, you'll see that he goes from your 6 o'clock to directly above your canopy. It's at that point that you've created the first problem for him. At that point, you have some options to choose from. You can either wait until he gets closer and then create a vertical problem, or you can go right ahead and create a vertical problem right away and open up some more options to choose from. In this situation, what I recommend is going into a dive. The 38's already in a climb chasing after you, so going into a dive forces the 38 to completely change his flight path and gives him the largest problem to deal with. Going back to the fight, it looks like you panic after taking some shots, and you reverse your turn way too early and put yourself back in the 38's gun sights. You try to outclimb the 38 and it almost works, but the 38 can stay in a climb a lot longer than a P-51 can and stall out right into his gun sights. Some things you did well was your situational awareness was pretty good. You kept an eye on both the P-38 and the F4U and you focused on the immediate threat. Your flying was also very smooth and your plane wasn't twitching all over the sky and wasting your E. and you made good attack runs on the P-38 and F4U, attacking them from their 6 o'clock. Some things you could work on is try out some different merges, create horizontal and vertical separation, and let your opponent waste their E flying to you. Something else I noticed, at least from this video, is work on your overshoots. Create horizontal and vertical problems, get a high closure rate. Just create as many problems as you can for your opponent and give them the hardest shot you possibly can. The biggest thing you can work on is your gunnery. Your flying was really smooth, but when it came to lining up a shot on somebody, your plane became really twitchy. Maybe you should look into adding some scaling for small control inputs so your plane becomes a bit more smooth when lining up a shot, or work on getting a habit of having gentle hands when lining up a shot on someone. Well, that's the end of this review. I hope this was helpful and you learned something, and I'll see you in game.